Stop everything you're doing right now, because the hip-hop world just hit a level of messiness we haven't seen in years. Imagine being part of a legacy built on the family first mantra, only to have that very foundation explode in front of millions. We are talking about King Harris, the son of T.I. and Tiny, who has just set the internet on fire with a scorched earth livestream. But this isn't just another typical family argument. King has officially pulled back the curtain on a secret that T.I. and Tiny have desperately tried to keep buried for over a decade. The name on everyone's lips? 50 Cent. Yes, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson himself. During a heated breakdown, King Harris exposed what he calls secret nights between 50 Cent and his own mother, Tiny. The moment those words left his mouth, social media went into a total meltdown. The questions started flying instantly. Is this the truth? Is King just lashing out to hurt his parents? Or has one of hip-hop's biggest betrayals finally come to light? But wait, the real chaos started when 50 Cent decided to enter the chat. We all know 50 never lets a mention go unanswered. He's the king of petty, the master of trolling, and his response was exactly what you'd expect. Savage, cryptic, and designed to stir the pot. In today's video, we aren't just skimming the surface of the gossip. We are dissecting every single detail of that explosive stream, decoding King Harris's words, and most importantly, breaking down 50 Cent's reaction that has sent shockwaves through the entire Harris household. This is a story of loyalty, old rivalries, and a son's ultimate betrayal. Did King just destroy his family's reputation forever? Let's dive deep into the receipts and find out what's really going on behind those closed doors. The digital landscape shifted the moment King Harris hit that go live button. But this wasn't just another routine venting session from a frustrated teenager. This was a calculated explosion. King decided to rip open a wound that T.I. and Tiny have spent over a decade trying to heal or, at the very least, keep hidden from the public eye. He didn't just hint at family issues. He aimed directly at the heart of his parents' marriage by invoking the name of their longtime industry rival. 50 Cent King's voice trembled not with fear, but with a decade's worth of suppressed resentment. He addressed the spoiled labels the public often throws at him, countering that no amount of money can compensate for the things he had to witness behind the closed doors of the Harris household. When he mentioned secret nights and late-night visits involving 50 Cent and his mother, Tiny, the comment section froze. This was no longer a family feud. It was a nuclear strike on a legacy. To understand the weight of these claims, one has to look back at the complex history between T.I. and 50 Cent. Both are titans of the genre, but their relationship has always been defined by a tense, unspoken rivalry. When King alleged that these secret interactions took place during periods when T.I. was either incarcerated or when the couple's relationship was on rocky ground, he provided a timeline that many fans found disturbingly plausible. At first, many viewers dismissed the outburst as a child's desperate attempt to hurt his father during an argument. However, as King continued, providing vivid descriptions of the atmosphere in the house, the hushed tones, the strategic absences, and the way information was filtered, the narrative shifted. People began digging through the archives, pulling up old photos of 50 Cent and Tiny, and reanalyzing interviews from the mid-2000s where the chemistry or the friendship between the two seemed a bit too familiar for comfort. King Harris didn't hold back, shouting into the camera that he knows everything that goes on when the cameras are off. This single statement acted as a catalyst for a massive divide within the hip-hop community. On one side, you have those who believe King is a brave truth-teller, finally exposing the hypocrisy of a family that brands itself as royalty while hiding messy secrets. On the other side, critics argue that King is committing the ultimate sin by weaponizing his mother's private life just to spite his father. Regardless of which side you land on, the damage to the Harris family brand was instantaneous. T.I., a man who has built his entire persona around being the king of the South and a protector of his domain, found himself being publicly dismantled by his own flesh and blood. The silence coming from the T.I. camp in those first few hours was deafening, as if the weight of the revelation had momentarily paralyzed their PR machine. The accusations grew even more scandalous as King delved into the specifics of the timing. He suggested that during the years T.I. was serving time, The bond between Tiny and 50 Cent intensified far beyond professional courtesy. This is the kind of allegation that strikes at a man's pride in the most visceral way possible. Within minutes, social media was flooded with memes and "I told you so" posts from fans who had always suspected a deeper connection between Tiny and 50. The question on everyone's mind was, why now? What was the breaking point that led King to set his own house on fire? Some industry insiders suggest that King is desperate to establish an identity separate from his father's shadow, believing that keeping it real involves exposing everyone around him. But others pointed to the genuine pain in his eyes, a look of a son who felt betrayed by the very people who were supposed to provide stability. As the stream went viral, Tiny attempted to intervene with a series of defensive social media posts. She tried to pivot the conversation back to family loyalty, suggesting that private matters should remain private and that King was being misled by his emotions. But King was past the point of no return. He doubled down, claiming that he no longer cared about his own reputation or the fallout for the family business. He wanted the world to see the hypocrisy he lived with every day. He mentioned 50 Cent's name repeatedly, almost as if he were summoning a demon to the battlefield. By bringing 50 into the mix, King knew he was involving a man who doesn't play by the rules of industry etiquette. 50 Cent is known for being a master of chaos, and King was essentially handing him the keys to the Harris family's most private secrets. The tension reached a fever pitch when King claimed that T.I. himself was aware of these secret nights, but chose to look the other way to maintain their public image as a power couple. This was perhaps the most damaging part of the entire stream. It painted T.I. not as a king, but as a man who traded his dignity for a brand. For a fan base that values street cred and honor above all else, this was a devastating blow. The narrative was no longer just about a potential affair. It was about a systemic cover-up within the family. King hinted that there were receipts, messages, and witnesses who could back up his claims, suggesting that this was just the tip of the iceberg. He portrayed himself as the only person in the inner circle willing to break the vow of silence, and that honesty made him a dangerous wild card. While the world waited for a formal statement from T.I. or Tiny, all eyes moved toward 50 Cent. The hip-hop mogul is notorious for his get-rich-or-die-trying attitude toward beef. He doesn't just respond. He colonizes the conversation. He had been tagged thousands of times in the video clips of King's outburst. People were refreshing his feed every few seconds, knowing that 50 wouldn't stay quiet for long. He has a history of using his rival's family issues as leverage, and King Harris had just handed him a mountain of ammunition. When 50 Cent finally broke his silence, it wasn't with a long press release or a formal denial. It was a classic 50 move, sharp, trolling, and calculated to make the situation 10 times worse for T.I. His reaction didn't just acknowledge the claims. It validated the chaos, and in doing so, he officially turned a family argument into a global entertainment spectacle. The moment 50 Cent's name started trending alongside King Harris's explosive claims, everyone knew the situation was about to go from a family fire to a global inferno. 50 Cent, born Curtis Jackson, is not just a rapper or a mogul. He is the undisputed heavyweight champion of social media warfare. He doesn't shy away from controversy, he feeds on it. As the clips of King Harris alleging secret nights between 50 and Tiny began to saturate every timeline, the world waited with bated breath. The anticipation was thick because 50 Cent has a very specific style when it comes to these situations. He doesn't usually issue a formal, polite denial through a publicist. Instead, he uses humor, memes, and psychological pressure to dismantle his targets. When he finally broke his silence, he didn't disappoint those looking for drama, but he also managed to add a layer of mystery that made the allegations feel even more heavy. 50 Cent's response was a masterclass in petty brilliance. He took to his Instagram, posting a screenshot of the news coverage regarding King's outburst. But it wasn't just the image. It was the caption that sent the internet into a tailspin. Instead of a direct yes or no regarding the secret nights with Tiny, 50 took a jab at T.I.'s parenting and the chaotic state of the Harris household. He used his signature sarcastic tone to question why a son would be so comfortable exposing his own mother's business on a public platform. By doing this, 50 Cent effectively shifted the spotlight. He made it look like he was the composed adult in the room while the Harris family was falling apart at the seams. However, by not explicitly denying the late-night visits, he left a massive door open for speculation. In the world of 50 Cent, a non-denial is often more powerful than a confession. It keeps the fire burning without him having to take the legal or moral blame. The genius and the cruelty of 50's reaction was how he played on T.I.'s insecurities. We have to remember that T.I. and 50 Cent have been at odds for years, often trading shots over who is the true king of their respective domains. By acknowledging King Harris's claims, 50 was essentially telling T.I., "Your own son is my best informant." He began posting old photos of himself and Tiny from years ago, images that were taken in professional settings but, in the context of King's new allegations, looked entirely different to the public eye. 50 Cent's trolling isn't just about making people laugh. It's about control. He wanted to control the narrative of the Harris family's private life. Every meme he posted was a reminder to T.I. that his family's internal secrets were now 50's playground. The psychological impact on T.I. was evident, as the grand hustle leader had to sit back and watch his rival use his son's words as a weapon against his marriage. As 50 Cent continued his social media onslaught, the focus turned toward the secret nights themselves. King Harris had suggested these occurred during T.I.'s legal troubles, and 50 Cent's posts seemed to subtly lean into that timeline. He didn't have to say a word about what happened behind closed doors. He just had to show that he was present and active during those years. The public began to analyze 50's old lyrics and interviews, looking for hidden messages or subliminals aimed at Tiny or T.I. This is the 50 Cent effect. He turns the entire internet into a group of detectives. He fueled the fire by liking comments that suggested he had won the long-standing beef with T.I. by winning over the heart of his household. It was a brutal display of industry power, showing that in the age of viral clips, your reputation can be dismantled by a single post from the right person. But while 50 Cent was enjoying the chaos, the pressure on T.I. was reaching a breaking point. How does a man who prides himself on respect and family values respond when his son is claiming he was essentially a bystander in his own marriage? T.I. finally broke his silence, but his response was a stark contrast to 50's playful malice. T.I. appeared on video looking exhausted, more like a disappointed father than a rap superstar. He addressed King's behavior, calling it embarrassing and disrespectful. But he notably avoided a direct confrontation with 50 Cent in that moment. It was as if T.I. knew that engaging with 50 would only give the mogul more content to work with. T.I. tried to claim that King was going through something, and that the public shouldn't believe the ramblings of a young man in the middle of a mental or emotional breakdown. However, the breakdown narrative didn't sit well with everyone. King Harris immediately pushed back against his father's attempt to silence him, going live again to say, "Don't call me crazy just because I'm telling the truth." This internal war within the Harris family was exactly what 50 Cent needed to keep the story alive for another week. 50 started sharing King's follow-up videos, essentially giving the young man a bigger platform to vent. By amplifying King's voice, 50 Cent was making sure that T.I. couldn't just sweep this under the rug. He was acting as a megaphone for the family's dirty laundry. The irony wasn't lost on fans. 50 Cent, who has had his own very public and very messy relationship issues with his eldest son, Marquise, was now acting as the supporter of T.I.'s rebellious son. It was a calculated move to show that T.I. couldn't even manage his own house, let alone the King of the South title. The drama took a darker turn when Tiny decided to speak out more forcefully. She realized that her character was being assassinated not just by her son, but by the relentless trolling of a former friend. She posted a message emphasizing that people should mind the business that pays them, a clear shot at 50 Cent. But in the world of internet beef, being defensive often looks like an admission of guilt to the cynical public. 50 Cent responded to Tiny's post with even more mockery, suggesting that she was stressed out because the truth was finally coming out. The secret nights claim had now become a permanent stain on the family's public image. It didn't matter if there were receipts or not. The court of public opinion had already moved toward a verdict because 50 Cent was the one leading the prosecution. By the end of this second phase of the drama, the lines were drawn. On one side, you had a son who felt he was exposing a lifetime of lies. On the other, you had parents trying to hold onto a crumbling legacy. And in the middle, you had 50 Cent, orchestrating the music to which they all danced. The rivalry between T.I. and 50 Cent had evolved from music and who has more money to something much more personal and damaging. It was no longer about records. It was about the sanctity of the home. As part 2 comes to a close, the tension is at an all-time high. The world is waiting to see if King Harris will actually drop the proof he promised, or if T.I. will finally be forced to confront 50 Cent face-to-face to end this humiliation once and for all. As the dust began to settle on the initial explosion of King Harris's livestream, the hip-hop community was left to pick up the pieces of what used to be one of the industry's most respected families. The Secret Nights allegations had evolved from a viral moment into a permanent cultural conversation. While the first 2 parts of this saga were defined by shock and trolling, part 3 is about the cold, hard reality of the aftermath. For T.I. and Tiny, the damage wasn't just digital. It was structural. Their brand, built on the pillars of family hustle and unwavering loyalty, was now facing a crisis of credibility. Fans who had watched them for years on reality TV felt a sense of betrayal, wondering if the royal family image they had supported was nothing more than a carefully constructed facade. The silence from other major industry figures was also telling. In a world where everyone usually has an opinion, many chose to stay quiet, sensing that this particular fire was too personal and too dangerous to touch. The psychological toll on the Harris household became even more apparent as the days went by. King Harris, instead of backing down, seemed to double down on his truth-teller persona. He began posting cryptic messages about breaking generational curses and refusing to live a lie. This shifted the narrative once again. People began to ask, is King a villain? Or is he a victim of a high-pressure environment where image matters more than reality? This internal conflict put T.I. in an impossible position. As a father, he wanted to protect his son. But as a businessman and a legend, he had to protect the grand hustle name. The tension was palpable in every public appearance T.I. made following the incident. Gone was the swaggering, confident king of the South. In his place was a man who looked like he was fighting a war on 2 fronts, one against his son and one against his oldest rival, 50 Cent. Speaking of 50 Cent, his role in the conclusion of this drama was as calculated as its beginning. After successfully turning the Harris family's private life into a global circus, 50 Cent did what he does best. He pivoted. He didn't need to keep posting. The seeds of doubt had already grown into a forest. He moved on to promoting his latest TV projects and business ventures, leaving the Secret Nights rumors to hang over T.I. and Tiny like a dark cloud. This is the ultimate power move in industry beef, to set a house on fire and then walk away as if you were never holding the matches. For 50, this wasn't just about Tiny or a potential affair. It was about demonstrating that he could dismantle T.I.'s peace of mind at any moment. It served as a warning to anyone else in the industry. 50 Cent doesn't forget, and he certainly doesn't play fair. The legal and professional consequences also began to surface. Industry insiders reported that certain brand partnerships and production deals involving the Harris family were being reevaluated. In the modern corporate world, messiness of this magnitude is often seen as a liability. Tiny, in particular, found herself in a difficult spot. As a woman who has spent her life in the spotlight, she was now being subjected to intense scrutiny and unfair slut-shaming from the more toxic corners of the internet. Despite her attempts to move forward and focus on her music and business, the comments section of every post remained a battleground. The Secret Nights claim had become a weapon used by trolls to discredit her every achievement. The emotional weight of having your own child contribute to that narrative is a burden that few can imagine, and it highlighted the dark side of growing up in the reality TV era. As we look at the final verdict from the fans, the community remains deeply divided. There is a segment of the audience that will never look at T.I. and Tiny the same way again, believing that where there is smoke, there is fire. They see King Harris as a tragic figure who finally snapped under the weight of family secrets. On the other hand, There are the loyalists who believe that King is a troubled young man being manipulated by external forces, including the masterful trolling of 50 Cent. They argue that every family has secrets, and the only difference here is that the Harris family has a son with a platform and a rival with a grudge. This division has created a new normal for the family, where every move they make is filtered through the lens of this controversy. What does the future hold for the Harris legacy? It's a question of whether they can rebuild the trust they've lost. T.I. has slowly attempted to return to his mentor role in the community, focusing on activism and business, but the ghost of King's livestream follows him. The relationship between father and son remains strained, a public reminder that some wounds don't heal with a simple apology or a deleted post. The Secret Knights saga serves as a cautionary tale for the hip-hop elite. It shows that in the age of social media, the greatest threat to your empire isn't an outside enemy or a rival rapper. It's the people inside your own house who know where the bodies are buried. In the end, 50 Cent walked away from the situation largely unscathed. His reputation as a menace only further solidified. T.I. and Tiny are left to navigate the wreckage of their public image, trying to prove to the world, and perhaps to themselves, that they are still the royalty they claim to be. King Harris continues to walk his own path, a wild card in an industry that prefers predictable stars. This story isn't just about a potential affair or a celebrity feud. It's about the high cost of fame, the fragility of the family unit, and the devastating power of the truth, or even the perception of it. As the cameras stop rolling and the likes stop pouring in, the Harris family is left with the one thing they can't troll or script their way out of: the reality of their own lives. This isn't just another family feud. This is a moment that could redefine a hip-hop legacy forever. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think King Harris is finally speaking a suppressed truth? Or is he just a pawn in 50 Cent's masterclass of trolling? Is there any coming back for T.I. and Tiny after these Secret Knights allegations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading everything. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the messiest drama in the industry right now, make sure to hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to see the receipts. And most importantly, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on those post notifications. You do not want to miss our next update because this story is evolving by the hour. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.